Jimmy wasn't a rapper at the time, I suppose. He wasn't a rapper at all, but he was your man on the side. I see that he's having a moment. I thought as I watched the balling, that individual is Lloyd Banks. That's Fly Banks. 50 Cent is after Jim Jones, and things are getting heated. During the Fat Joe and Rule Kiss broadcast, Jim started the controversy by making fun of Nas, saying that he is a greater rapper and has contributed more to culture than Nas could. Talk like that is ridiculous. Yes, I recently watched The Breakfast Club. Jimmy popped all of that. I heard Jimmy discussing our Gucci boo. He was in the Gucci shops. We love Gucci. Jimmy Da looked like the Black King on his way to Marita Monet, particularly from someone who once thought highly of Nas. Why then did he change the course of events in that way? Is Jay-Z secretly influencing background events? You see, this isn't a playful slur. Jim is being directly accused by 50 Cent of being a puppet of Jay-Z. He desired that. I was unsure if he would go for it, so when he eventually had one, I simply glanced and discovered that I had taken the shot murder to see. He was observing their behavior, such as that of Maze and Killa Cam. Oh, I see. However, I reasoned that we still prefer Jimmy to you, Cam. You have to see how he responded to that. Yes. Inform him that we desire him. Jimmy, we want you to come to the show. Yes. However, that was one of those instances where I just threw it out to see what would happen, and when he did, he bit into it because it seemed like he was living a moment that he wasn't sure would come again. Then he pursued them, and on their records I would constantly comment, "Look, it's a certain artist." I go, "Damn, when is he going to have his moment like Fab?" To be honest, Jim dragged half through the mud, making fun of him in interviews and whenever he had, so the timeline was suspicious for years. I added, "He acts as though Jay is his older brother all of a sudden. No, that change seems dubious." Let's go back to the beginning of the controversy. When Jim discussed recent singles with Fat Joe and Jadakiss, Joe pointed out the absurd parallels being made. The younger audience thinks Jim has contributed more to hip-hop than Nas. Jim laughed and remarked, "These new kids don't even know Nas," rather than being modest and perhaps expressing gratitude. He continued by saying that he has a far bigger influence. I recently came across a video on Instagram where a small child compared you to Nas and said, "Yes, my young boy big hits. Dude, you taught him how to put on the BB Simon belt. He stared at you. He got his goodies. How absurd is that? Do you get what I mean when I say my era? Nas is like a god in my period too. To put it another way, let me not be compared to that little boy. Let's evaluate this. I respected Nas, but keep in mind that his debut album, Barbecue, was published when I was in the 11th grade. We treasured the fact that he was young and adored Jim Jones. I want you to cry, so please let me get. Don't make a mistake now. Dipset certainly had their period and influenced an entire generation, but Jim spoke about his legacy without mentioning the Diplomats, as if he were the only one carrying Harlem. Jadakiss's expression clouded, as if he had just heard the most absurd viewpoint of the year. When I was little, Nas was my hero. Just like When You Dig, everything appeared, including the attire, music, and wordplay. Ignore the fact that I was a greater fan of Nas, I never take that away from him, but as soon as I started playing the game, I realized that your opponents would be idols and that you shouldn't draw any conclusions from it. We talked about 1994 and 1993 when I was in the 11th grade, but this generation is completely different. I developed my own style in my own lane that these kids start to gravitate toward, much like how I used to be drawn to Nas when I was younger. That difference is fairly significant. Do you understand what I'm saying? I want everyone to know that. Shorty's comment, "Yeah, he's 20 years old," highlights the time in his life when I realized it and started going crazy. These kids love me, but they really don't know who Nas is. For instance, if he is 22, not all of them were born in 2003. Some of them are aware, but in reality, he didn't even need to say anything because everyone knows that Nas is a real legend. His silence cried out, "Stop the cap." But Jim didn't start to gain respect in the rap community until Ballin' hit the charts. The same person who was excited to meet Nas just a year ago is now asserting that he is a better musician. That is egotistical and not arrogant self-assurance. Jadakiss maintained his composure, even though it was clear from his expression that the video was taken by all of the major players in the game. Jim didn't stop there either. He accelerated to full speed, claiming that he could outperform Nas in every way: sharper flow, more impact. Higher relevancy, better bars. But I can see the similarities in Nick's effort at comedy. No, I've spanked a lot of this. I'm referring to the industry in which I've worked, so let's skip the part where we get the data and I have to show you the statistics of my work compared to others. You should also view the billboard entries, select N's billboard entries, and then select my billboard. Pay attention because we are unable to compare the two. He and I are now both rappers. Listen, No, what I'm trying to say is that I want to continue. I want to move down the line because that's where we're heading. No, let's look at statistics now. Feels great. No, but I want to proceed statistically because, as you heard, my statistics were validated. When people say things like, I feel the same, I forget about the figures. Then he boldly declared, I'm more relevant now than Nas has ever been, which is not a sign of confidence. Anarchy is what that is. Jim began using statistics to support his claims, such as Billboard rankings, viral hits, Spotify streams, top albums, and flashing numbers, but the internet rejected it. He was enraged because NAS fans immediately displayed receipts, flooded the comments, published data, and chastised Jim for disparaging a man who has been producing famous records long before Jim even secured a record deal. Hello, my friend, Jim remarked. Look at what you're wearing. You've been at this for a while, but lyrically, I'm going to stay up with you. I replied, I'm better than matter. You won't even be in the same place as me on the days we can visit the church home. You can't. I'm not sure who told you that. You're not seeing Nas even if you know you're on that incredible thing. Many people in their 40s and 50s are wearing their trousers. You're not seeing Nas, man. Let's face it. Take a look at yourself. Take a look at yourself. Nobody will take control of you. Let's face it, this disagreement didn't emerge overnight. Since the early 2000s, this energy has been increasing. Nas slammed Dipset and made fun of Cameron's Come Home With Me, calling it garbage. Over Nas's Hate Me Now beat, Cam clapped back. This led to a full-scale conflict. The two groups exchanged interviews, trash CDs, and insults for years. Queens versus Harlem, tradition versus pride. But this is the point at which things become extremely complicated. Jim and Jay-Z were at odds during that Dipset versus Nas feud. Coming in this way. Since the barbecue, I've heard you remark that several times. The phrase dope kid rap, crack hustler, and get fresh rap was first explained by him. Jay seems to have entirely altered the rap beat before I heard him perform or heard anyone else. In terms of artists, he is the one who broke the camel's back. Big Daddy Kane and all the artists that came before him, in my opinion, began to fade away when Nas accomplished that. Then J. Joe appeared, along with other rappers who were discussing the life we were truly beginning to experience at the moment and how it was evolving in this way. Do you understand what I'm saying? That was how I felt about the entire small circumstance. Jay used to make fun of Jim in public and things quickly got out of hand. When Jay declined to appoint Cameron as Rockefeller's vice president, the real fight began. The Harlem team suffered greatly as a result of Jim's strong support for Cam. A protracted and acrimonious argument with Jay resulted from this move. Let's now go ahead to the present. Jim used to make fun of both Jay-Z and Nas, but now he's mocking Jay-Z while admiring Nas. Diplomats don't know anyone else. Jim Jones is this person. Take a look at my prior performance. After that, look at each person's past performance. After that, look at every one of my entries on the billboards. After that, review each entry. You can also select N's billboard entries to view the billboard entries. Next, bring up my billboard. But let's talk about one thing. Proceed. None of Jim Jones' 9 Billboard 200 entries are number 1, although 3 of them are in the top 10. Nas, on the other hand, has 16 albums in the top 10, 27 entries, and 6 albums that have peaked at number 1 on the Billboard 200. I'm still rapping at a high level in the game as of 2025. Go into the booth if Nas wants to smoke. I'm a rapper. In 2025, Jim Jones is rapping at an extremely high level. I've been known to contend that Jim Jones made some of the best music to come out of New York in recent years. I have never seen Nas at such a high level. Nas continues to produce excellent music. I haven't seen Nas in that, so let's start actively battling each other. It's not a coincidence. This situation is strategic. The entire rap community is listening to every word of this maneuver. Cameron and Jim Jones constantly felt taken advantage of. They thought Rockefeller was just using Harlem to look cool, and he ignored them as if they didn't matter. Recall that Dame Dash, not Jay-Z, was the one who initially introduced them to the rock world. However, Jim and Cam believed that Jay was purposefully driving them away when he ascended to the throne, as if he wanted to steal Harlem's pride. Jim remained silent about it. He immediately attacked Jay, accusing him of keeping Harlem out of the entire Rockefeller movement, labeling him weak, and saying that he was cut off from the streets. But it was more than simply rap lingo. Jim really did take it to the streets. Jim Jones appeared on Jadakiss and Fat Joe. Look at that. A subject and a subject. Yes. He had a lot to say about someone on the internet who said that Jim Jones was superior to Nas and had more Billboard singles when he appeared on Fat Joe and Rule to Kiss His podcast. It was a small child. I'm thinking he was around 23 because he claimed that Nas is not regarded by his generation. And that infuriated a lot of people. I didn't find the children's age offensive. The numbers are the numbers, much like in a sports discussion. However, we don't always follow that when it comes to rappers in New York City. The superior performer is Travis Scott. More numbers, more hits, more. However, it doesn't seem like the rappers care what Travis Scott is saying. He got into a full-fledged altercation in a Louis Vuitton store in Manhattan on December 22, 2008. Jay-Z's business partner and personal friend was the man he battled. This was no ordinary conflict. It was intimate. Nearly a year later, Jim entered a guilty plea to misdemeanor assault. The fight also showed that his animosity might have gone far beyond rap. Jim Jones, what's the deal? You are aware that hip-hop is a competitive sport. Some, on the other hand, think that they shouldn't be allowed to publicize their names until they have performed in the musical genre. I don't even need to respond to that question because I've done so much with this song. Who is Jim Jones, for example? He is not in anyone's top 10. He is not the most talented individual, perhaps not even his relatives. He's like the 8th person on the bench yelling at Jordan like you're a jerk, like I mentioned last night. You look like the 9th man on the bench. I'm not even concerned about you. However, this is the point at which chaos ensues. Jim gave up after years of publicly disparaging and condemning Jay and all the chaos. He immediately returned to beg for a bargain from the same individual he had been disparaging for years. That is ridiculous. The same man who had intended to murder Jay was now hoping that Hav would save his career. Some claim Jim is unreliable as a result. He has a reputation for changing sides when things become tough. He seems to be allergic to loyalty. Because of this, 50 Cent never showed him any respect. Whether he was a hype man, wasn't the greatest rapper, or was only starting to understand whatever story you want to tell, I'm still here. In 2025, you will still have the opportunity to hear me speak. I think and has never received anything like to what I did for him. He has never become well known. Never. In his entire life, he has never been addressed in this manner. When he and Jay were at the height of the G-Unit against Dipset feud in 2007, that was the last time he was in a situation like this where people were making comparisons. When Jim arrived for a G-Unit function, the entire company was shocked. 50 had not signed him even though they had invited him. Jim was still playing checkers, but 50 was playing chess. He pulled Jim outside so he could be seen. 50 wanted to show everyone that Jim will stop at nothing to get attention, especially Cameron. Everything was planned in advance. He was humiliated in front of the entire game by 50. No agreement, no contract. Just a chilly reminder that loyalty is crucial in this industry. 50 people believe Jim was weak and primitive after that day. For a very long time, Jay-Z and 50 have been engaged in a secret Cold War. Because of this, Jim rushed back to Jay and pleaded for a lifeline. He became formally opposed to the 1950s. The atmosphere drastically changed as soon as the Roc Nation transaction was finalized. Since Jay-Z created the advertisement, I wasn't in it. I believe they still have some animosity for me. Do you believe that you were intentionally left out of the marketing? No. They said I had some problems with the NFL, but I'm not sure what those problems are. I don't know what the problem is. Do you understand what I mean? And I'm with them since he talked to him just like Nori. Yes, I spoke with the big homie, he said. You knew the white boy wouldn't tell the truth if he didn't have 50, Jay informed me. I struck Jay-Z, my closest friend, correct? The white guy called for 50 Cent, he continued. Who to? Who's the white guy? I asked, recalling Jimmy and Ein. I begged him to. Come get me. He said, "Well, no, Eminem made a straight call for 50. That's both his guy and his person, isn't that right? I can't do it if I can't break 50 off," he replied. I think, "Oh, that's your big homie. And that's when I start saying crazy things, baby." Because of this, he believes that he is a gay painter. What are we talking about here? Bozat wants to look like a gay painter. Big Buddy wants to look like a gay painter. I'm trying to tell you that when you look at that, you see that it's their heart, not mine, but when you look at M, you're looking at the entire legacy. Yes, Jim abruptly began criticizing Nas with his slides shortly afterward. Is that just a coincidence? Oh my gosh, I think I know where this is going. 50 does not endorse that, not even for a moment. You see, 50 believes that Jay-Z is controlling things behind the scenes and using Jim as a pawn in a larger game. Yes, were you smoking when you stated that you were superior to Nas? I might have been a little. As for let's do this right. I don't care what people think because I am far more powerful than Nas. Even though I know I made it and made a little boo-boo when we talk about the sales and all this kind of stuff, I don't feel like getting into the debate about where I started and where he started. You mentioned that, but keep in mind that Nas was kind to me when I was in high school. That's classic Jay. Keep quiet. Use others for the smoke. A 50, he hasn't been duped in any manner. Jay has been dying to upset Nas once more, but instead of getting his hands dirty, he's letting Jim handle the swinging. When 50 Cent learned of Jim's short-lived collaboration with Jay-Z, he acted quickly. Since only 50 people could criticize him on Instagram, he did so immediately. The man yearned for this kind of drama, mocking Jim for selling out by posting videos, memes, and captions that claim Jim changed sides only to remain relevant. 50 called Jim the industry's favorite puppet and implied that Jay-Z was pressuring him to do things he didn't want to do. Furthermore, 50 wasn't just trolling, they were taking it very seriously. He reminded everyone that Jay had a history of using people to fight his battles while maintaining composure. This Nas situation, in 50's opinion, is just the most recent. Jim acts independently while following Jay's instructions, which is, in essence, brutal. The internet weighed in after that, and chaos quickly followed. Fans found other interviews in which Jim praised Nas, referred to him as one of the best, and even claimed that Nas had influenced his hustle. These videos went viral. So, which Jim Jones are we getting today? Who is Nas' supporter or critic? Everyone asked all of a sudden, which made his entire performance seem phony and led to the emergence of memes. However, Nas didn't even flinch, which is why it stings more. While Jim is out here battling for influence, he is relaxing, releasing timeless music, and winning Grammy Awards. He is having a great time of 50, and whenever he gets the chance, he teases Jim. It's always surgical, sometimes subtly, sometimes overtly. He even went so far as to say that Jim is the type of person who would disparage a legend to get his supervisor's attention. Oh bad, here is when things start to turn dark. There were rumors that Jim was under pressure from Roc Nation's crew to cause trouble with Nas as a publicity stunt. Consider this. Controversy attracts attention, clicks, and streams. Furthermore, Jay is the best storyteller in the game. If 50's claim is correct, Jim is just another pawn on Jay's board with disposable music. However, because he was 50, he didn't limit himself to words. Instead, he began sharing old behind-the-scenes information. Jim allegedly pleaded to be handled by celebrities and to have meetings and features. By portraying Jim as seeking approval from organizations that never really wanted him there, he is successfully undermining Jim's reputation as a tough guy. It's amazing because it seems like this whole thing is bigger than rap. It's a battle for credibility, pride, and significance. Jim is attempting to demonstrate that he belongs in the same conversation as Legendary, but every move he makes just gives 50 more ammunition to destroy him. 50 has said this before, and it still has a significant impact. Jay-Z's entire brand is based on his ability to be composed, professional, and unbreakable. But beneath his spotless suit and quiet smile, that man is calculating every move like a chess grandmaster. Jay learned early on that power does not come from shouting. A true boss keeps their hands clean even when dealing with dirt. That statement contains all the information you need to understand how this game really works. He doesn't just play the game, he owns it.